Skoda Octavia VRS, a 1500 quid say, 1.8 litre turbocharged family saloon from Skoda. This 2003 one I've picked up today is a prime example of what you can get these days for your money. And although it might look like a lovely day, it is super windy. It is literally 1 degree right now. So we're gonna have a quick look around this thing and then take it out on the road. Now, starting off with this front bumper, it actually has the cutout here, as you can see, with a little bit more mesh behind it. Gives it a little bit more of an aggressive look. From the factory, they would have come with a bigger front bumper with a smaller opening. It also has a little splitter, but I think opening these cars up, especially this bit, gives it a lot more aggression, something that I think the Octavia from the factory sort of lacked. Opening just that front grille up makes a huge difference. Under the bonnet, we have the 1.8 litre turbocharged engine that you would find in the Golf GTI of the same sort of era. That means parts are incredibly interchangeable for these things, and parts are very cheap. You can modify these things on a serious budget if you want to. This one has a K&N air filter, intake pipe just at the top, and a intercooler. This all means this car produces now 229 brake horsepower, 345 newton meters of torque at 2,800 RPM. But I have to say, for £1,500, you can buy one with all of these mods on it. It isn't too hard to find a modified one that's running more than 200 brake horsepower. Rear end styling with these VRSs, it comes with this spoiler on the boot, and that's pretty much it. This one actually has a 3-inch exhaust system with no cats whatsoever, no centre pipe, but does retain a back box. Something to point out though, that means this isn't actually that loud. Retaining a back box on these 1.8 litre turbocharged engines means it doesn't drone and it's not too loud. So again, if you are going to go for one of these, cutting all the boxes out but retaining that back box is the way to go. The interior of these Octavias isn't too bad. You have relatively simple setup for everything. Fuel button here, Octavia very nicely printed just near the air vents there. The talking point inside really is that it's incredibly comfortable. This one actually has Mark IV Golf leather seats all round. It still retains the door cards from the Octavia VRS, but you can interchange the Mark IV interior into one of these. So if you buy one that's got cloth interior, say, you can very cheaply go and pick up a full set of Mark IV Golf seats and actually put them in. And as a driving position, when you're sat here as a driver, no massive overhang at the front, no massive overhang at the back. So as a driving position, it's very easy to see out, park, maneuver this thing. And the turning circle and the radius of the steering wheel actually shocked me. I went around a roundabout a minute ago. I was really surprised at how tight the turning circle actually was. Also with the Octavia VRSs, it comes with a full black headliner with black sun visors. And there's a little cheeky Easter egg for you guys that don't know your VAG stuff. There's a little sun visor just here. Nice. Right, that's enough of me harping on about this thing. Let's go and get it on the road, go and see what £1,500 buys you. Octavia VRS is really like on the road, and it's freezing cold. Let's go. So cold, windy. Ah. Driving the Octavia VRS, 229 brake horsepower from this one that I'm driving today, has the 1.8 litre turbocharged engine that you would find across the VAG range of this sort of generations. It's the Mark I Octavia as well. The big talking point, especially with this car, is how cheap they are. £1,500 you could buy pretty much this exact car for. There's enough of them on the market for you to find a good one as well. This one itself is at 162,000 miles, and a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, 162k, oh, don't know about that, that's a bit much. Honestly, driving it today, I could look down and that could say 62,000. It does not feel like it's done the mileage. These Octavias are not necessarily bulletproof, but the parts, if you were to actually have a mishap and unfortunately break one of these, parts are incredibly easy to get hold of. They share pretty much the same platform with the Mark IV Golf, so interchangeable parts between the Golf and these Octavias. The platform itself is pretty much a Mark IV Golf, just a little bit longer. The real talking point, and I've got to point this out, is this one especially, with the mapping and stuff and the dyno sheet that I have to my side, it's actually running 345 Newton meters of torque, but that comes in at 2,800 RPM, which is incredibly low down in the rev range, considering this thing revs out to what, 6,500 RPM. That's a lot of RPM to actually play with. So 3,500, you're instantly on boost. The funny thing is, it sounds like a jet fighter coming out the back. This has a 3-inch exhaust system completely straight through to a back box on the back, but it's not loud. These 1.8 litre turbocharged engines never were that loud if you did decat them and take all of the boxes out. This one, obviously retaining a back box, still means that it still resonates, which is quite nice. It's not too overpowering when you are enjoying yourself, and it does make a nice dump noise at the front. Other talking points about the drive, this one's actually sat on coilovers. Fortunately, the car was bought with these coilovers on, so we're not too sure what they are, but they're not too bad. If they are cheap ones, they're doing a very good job. But the driving position in one of these Skodas is pretty much the same as a Mark IV. If you've ever driven a Mark IV, it's the same sort of scenario, just slightly longer. If you've driven a Bora, that would probably be the exact car that we're talking about here, but unlike the Boras, these come with a bit more excitement. Bigger brakes, they come with 17-inch alloys to standard, although this one is actually sat on Audi TT wheels. I know that very well because I used to own a Mark 1 TT. Shout out to the Mark 1 TT owners out there. But I think if you were looking to buy a Bora, it would be a little bit mundane. It would probably be the diesel one, whereas this, it's a bit more hyped up and sporty. And if you're after something like that that's a bit more sporty and you only have £1,500, I'm still going to go back to the fact that these are so cheap, so cheap. £1,500 can get you in one of these cars, and I think if that's your budget, this is a phenomenal car to buy for the money. They're pretty safe, they're good on petrol. This one's doing, you know, I think it was 26 mpg the last time I looked, and I'm enjoying myself, so not too bad on the mpg side. Tax will run you back at £320 a year on one of these, and insurance isn't too bad, depends on your age and where you're from, and you'll be paying around £1,000 for one of these to be insured. Again, mega budget car, this budget, and I understand that people may want to spend more than that, want to spend maybe less than that. They don't understand why you buy a Skoda, blah blah. Honestly, today, if I had 1,500 quid in my hand, it'd be hard pushed to find something that is this versatile, back seats, big boot, that's this easy to modify as well. Parts are relatively cheap, they're very easy to obtain as well. I see everybody who's selling an air filter or an intercooler for these engines. So if you literally have 1,500 quid to spend and you want a family daily driver that's a little bit exciting as well, don't see past the Skoda Octavia VRS, because it is a fantastic little car, this. Especially if it's running a bit more power. Front end, although this is, you know, 345 Newton meters of torque at such a low RPM, it doesn't actually spin the wheels too much. The interior itself is nice and spacious. The brakes are very good. It has drilled and grooved discs all round on this Octavia, and for a car that's 1,500 quid, it's got a lot of get up and go. It's a good figure for something that you have paid £1,500 for, people. I can't believe how cheap these are. So if you're on the market for one, have a good look round. There's a lot of them out there. You can get one at relatively low mileage if you want to pay a little bit more. This one, 162,000 miles, ballpark, £1,000 to £1,500 you'd be paying for one of these with the mods on it. If you do know of any common problems on these, please leave a comment below. I did have a little look round, but there wasn't too much that was not obvious. Most of the VAG stuff from this era has an engine management light on, which is one of those things they seem to all have. And apart from what I believe to be map sensors and coil packs, I think that's about it for these engines. Good little budget car, this.